Freud said, it seems that our entire psychical activity is bent on procuring pleasure and avoiding pain, and that it is automatically regulated by the pleasure principle. He said that in 1920. There is Pavlov, the other giant in the field, who indeed, as particular as he was in studying classical conditioning, as it came to be called, as precisely scientific as he was in all of that work, coming up with that book that he wrote that contained all of the laws of conditioning, delayed conditioning and trace conditioning and all of that sort of thing. That book is just a compendium of important information that was true then and is true now. And he got into it sort of serendipitously. That's a good term for those of you who are young folks to remember, because serendipitous inferences from what you may see can influence an awful lot of what you do with your lives. I'm talking about your professional lives here mostly, but it has to do with your personal lives as well. What happened was that the caretakers of the animals in Pavlov's laboratory noticed that the dogs were they had these fissures in their mouths, in their cheeks, and they were collecting, because he was a physiologist. He wasn't a psychologist. He was a physiologist doing work on the salivary glands and trying to find out how the salivary glands work. And the way in which he did it was to have these, to collect the saliva under different stimulus conditions. And a caretaker came to him one day, it is said, and told him, Professor, those dogs are beginning to salivate an awful lot before I even get into the laboratory to study them. And they salivate more and more and more the closer and closer I get to the cage where they are being kept. Well, that was conditioning. In later terminology, one might have said that those dogs were showing, are you ready for this? Fractional anticipatory goal responses. Classical conditioning, classically conditioned, anticipatory, appetitive, learned responses. They were beginning to engage in the classically conditioned response before the stimulus arrived. We all do that. We begin, long before we get to the door that we're going to open, we begin to posture ourselves to reach the door in just the right way with our arm. We don't just all of a sudden go and stand in front of the door and go like this and open the door. There's lots of behavior going on that leads up to it. That's an important part of the stuff of learning. And Skinner was one of the guys who knew all of this so well about the shaping of behavior. Skinner was noted, and it's true, for his work on schedules of reinforcement and these very precise curves, cumulative curves, showing the way in which animals of different sorts behave under different schedules of reinforcement. But he was an expert shaper of behavior before he started studying the consequences of different schedules of reinforcement. He knew just when to administer the food, and he trained other people to do it too. But every student that he ever had said, well, I could never get as good at it as he was in shaping the behavior of a pigeon. He knew just when to provide the animal with the reinforcement that was going to move the animal on to the next step. It's very important in education of children.